Sure.
Hello guys, thank you very much for joining in for today's session. Like always, we are back with our conversation, career conversation, and today we're going to be talking with Krishna Chopra, who has already cleared FRM level 1 and level 2. And the idea of this interview that we generally have is basically to help us understand the people who have already cleared the exam, what has been their experience, what all challenges they faced, how they cleared the exam, what all time they put in, what was the preparation strategy that they had, and from that perspective we basically try to go through this interview. And in this interview we're going to be talking with Krishna Chopra, and he has already cleared FRM level 1 level 2. Krishna, I would like to have a small introduction of your side, from your side. What exactly were you doing before FRM level 1?
Hello, sir. Firstly, it's a privilege to be communicating with you for Fintelligence. So, speaking about my background, I graduated in 2017, and during the final year of my graduation, I had already cleared CFA level 1. So, I joined Namura in their product control department, and I was into structured deal review.
Okay.
I was there for a few months, and eventually I moved on within product control to their product control P&L team, and I was looking after flow credit as an asset class.
Okay.
And within that asset class, I was responsible for the day-to-day risk and P&L production of the numbers.
Right, right, right.
And it is right here where when during my stint in PNL, when I started to prepare for FRM level 1, and that is when I came to know about Fintelligence. And gradually upon clearing both the levels, I am now working at Morgan Stanley in the product control department, and I look
Okay.
after the EMEA equities PNL.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you, Krishna. So, was there any particular trigger point for you to go for FRM? Was there any incident or anybody told you about it? What happened, basically?
So it was my around in 2018. My elder brother, who is now a certified FRM, he was preparing for the exam, and I just scrolled through the one of the textbooks, and I really liked the curriculum which was on offer. And back then, I found it to be quite realistic with the industry and the nature of work that I was doing. So I
Right.
thought of giving it a shot. That was the main reason.
Okay, okay, okay. And primarily because you already had CFL level 1, so you knew something about these kind of competitive exams, and going
Correct.
for an FRM was also a natural progression because you already did CFA. So having an FRM also is going to add value to your CV. Perfect, perfect. So let us directly go to the preparation part and what exactly happened. So we'll start first focus on FRM level 1. Okay. So when you started looking out for the FRM level 1 curriculum, was there any topic which you found difficult, or was there any topic which you found easy?
Okay, so talking about the difficult topics, I had to tell that fixed income valuation was difficult. For instance, valuing swaps was quite a challenge, and I required a bit of assistance out there. And I even needed a bit of help while analyzing derivatives and valuing derivatives. And yeah, so these were the main two topics where I needed a bit of push, and rest it was quite interesting.
Right. So book 3, book 4, content
Correct,
majorly was small, some kind of a challenge. Okay. And what kind
correct.
of time commitment that you had put in terms of how was what was your preparation strategy? Was it daily preparing, or was only preparing on the weekend? What was the strategy that you were following?
So daily I used to give approximately 90 to 120 minutes. That used to be split across. Either I would wake up early during the mornings, or despite being exhausted post work, I would try to give as much time as I could. And on weekends I would slog for 4 to 5 hours.
And when we were looking at FRM level 1, so a lot of the content is basically that the major focus of the book is basically book 3 and book 4, because you have around 60% of the content. So in terms of solving question bank or solving questions, was there any particular thing that you kept in mind, or anything that worked for you when you were preparing?
So what worked for me was the fact that I didn't get demotivated, because if you see the questions which we did, they were quite challenging initially. And it wouldn't be wrong to say that some students might get a little discouraged seeing how difficult the questions really are. as compared to what you're reading. I was really critical of not getting discouraged by my initial failures. Just learning from those failures, it helped me tremendously.
So in terms of your preparation for the exam, question bank was also a concern, right? So was there something that helped you in your preparation with respect to question bank? Was there any strategy that you used?
The main strategy I used was to solve as many questions as I could, and to make sure that my overall average score met around the say 70 to 75% mark. Because the questions which I did for the question bank, they were really tough and challenging. I wouldn't deny that. And the key was also to not get demotivated, because I remember in certain topics I couldn't even score like 25%. They were those tough.
Right, right,
So the
right.
key was to assess and gauge my strengths and weaknesses quite early on, and to so that I could allocate more time to work towards them. So this
Okay,
helped me quite a bit.
okay, okay, great. So primarily, there was a time when you were not able to solve properly, or there was a time when you prepared, but when you went to solve questions, so you faced a problem, right? So obviously you did lot of revision, you did a lot of to and fro to those questions, right, for your preparation. Perfect. So in terms of the exam, okay, so when we talk about FRM level 1, we have around 100 questions, 4 hours. What
Correct.
happened for you in that 4 hours?
So basically, in those 4 hours, my strategy was clear. I had to work on my strengths before. So the questions which I knew, I solved them early. Uh, like I made them a priority. So if I recollect, within the first 90 minutes, I was done with 75% of the paper. It
Wow.
was that easy. But then, however, the remaining part, I found it so tough that ultimately I had to miss out on a question despite the 4 hours coming to an end. So you can imagine like the time which I spent on the really challenging and tough questions.
Okay. But you were able to bifurcate those tough questions, and you were able to first focus on those easy questions, so that you do not miss on those easy questions, at least for the exam time, right?
Yep. Yep, I could bifurcate that. And after giving the mocks, I basically knew what my strengths and weaknesses are. And based on reading a question a couple of times, I knew that this particular question would take a bit of time. So there was no use
Nice.
breaking my head on it at the moment. So I kept it for the end.
And that's a very good point, because a lot of people, what happens is that they, even when they keep on solving questions, they won't understand which question to leave at the time of the exam. And this being a competitive exam, this is a very good quality to have. If suppose you're solving 2 3 questions which you're getting the answer, if you're getting a fourth question which is difficult, you should not take it on your ego and keep on solving, because that will take a lot of time, right? So definitely that's a very good thing to do. And actually that I think that helped you in your exam day also. And going to the part 2, so you appeared for level 2 immediately after your level 1, right?
Yeah, that's correct. Even before I had the results for my level one, I started preparing for level two, because somewhere down the line, I had that assurance that I'm going to clear level one. So I began preparing for level two, and I began straight away with the difficult topics. So I think I began with market risk initially. And then, yeah, once I got my results, so it was just a matter of time.
Right. So basically, you did not waste your time of that 1 month during the result time. And when we talk about FRM level 2, what was there any particular book that you found very difficult, or any particular chunk of topics which was very difficult for you?
So coming to book two, I'd say initially I had issues with market risk and credit risk, because those things I hadn't done, or I hadn't known in the past.
Right.
So relating those to the current day-to-day work which I was doing in office, that was turning out to be a little difficult. But with practice, I think I understood. Once I understood the logic behind why we were studying those things and how could they be, used in the real world financial market scenario. So then it helped me to a great extent. And but if I had to take particular names in as such, I would say market risk. The initial few topics were a bit tricky.
Okay, okay, great. So you basically again identified which section of the book was difficult for you. Okay, and then talking about operation risk, because a lot of people feel that operation risk is very vast. So was there any particular strategy that you used for going through that book entirely?
What I did was I just I browsed through. Honestly, I didn't spend a lot of time. Only mentioned it was tremendously vast. So I just looked at the important topics and I read them a couple of times. I did solve the question banks, but I didn't spend a lot of time. I just read once or twice at most. And certain topics I didn't even read once.
Okay, okay. Because you were confident that if the question comes, then you might be able to pick it up directly because the question itself is very generic generally for operation risk, right?
Correct, correct.
And uh,
And is and ops risk is some here. I want to add something. Ops risk is something that you have to, rather than knowing the, obviously you need to know the curriculum, what's in the book, but it's something you need to put yourself in the shoes of an ops risk manager and understand what would you
right,
particularly do. And if you're able to do this correctly, I'd say more or less you'll get the question spot on.
perfect, perfect, perfect. And what about current issues? I mean, this topic keeps on changing every year. So was there any
Correct.
concern from that part?
There was a bit of concern, yes, I wouldn't deny, because it deals with all the day-to-day changes that are taking place. For example, it has machine learning and algorithmic trading and the new prospects which are quite hot right now. So, just getting a grasp of it, it was tough. Like, even if you read it 3, 4 times without understanding, you won't get anything as such. Nothing, you would be blank on the exam day. So, this is where your help really, your words really helped me, as you made us understand how it's related to the real world scenario. So, that was quite helpful.
In terms of the exam for level 2, because see FRM level 2 is very difficult, different from FRM level 1, because in level 1 you face that time crunch, but in level 2 it's only 80 questions and 4 hours. So what was your experience for that level 2 exam?
So surprisingly, I had quite similar. I had a similar experience even during level two. Even though the questions are 80 questions and you still have 4 hours, there might be at times when even those 4 hours might seem less. As I use the same strategy of wrapping up the easy questions earlier on, and the questions which I found challenging, they again took me quite a bit of while. And I remember those were credit risk based questions, so they took me quite a while. I had to break my head on a lot of occasions. And again, I think I missed out on 1 or 2 questions. It was that lengthy.
Right, right, right. And because one of the feedback that I've also received is that a lot of FRM level 2 questions are primarily a mix, basically from either operations or market or credit or market. So you also found that in the paper, right?
Correct. And for us, the thing was the questions involved deep calculations and analysis post the calculations. So that was another time consuming aspect.
Right, right, right. I think so. Normally, they in level 2 generally they do not ask heavy calculations, but I think so. Your exam was bit different in that context. Okay. Now let us once we are done with FRM level 2, what happened? I mean, was there any change that happened to your career in terms of what direct benefit benefits means remuneration or indirect benefit means recognition? So what kind of change that happened to your career?
So upon clearing FRM level 2, I was looking out for a change from an organization standpoint. And this is where once I updated my CV and updated on shared platforms, I started getting way too many calls, from different investment banks and tier one investment banks for different roles, for an array of roles. So this is how I could, find my way across and switch my job. So currently I'm at Morgan Stanley, and post clearing my FRM, I made this job switch.
Okay. Perfect, perfect. That's wonderful. So primarily, basically helped you in your CV in terms of job hunting because you got your prospect or your CV became very strong by addition of that skill or that certification, right? Perfect.
To a great
So
extent. Yes.
yeah. Well, that's good. I mean, wonderful. Thank you very much, Krishna, for sharing out your thoughts, your quick pointers. Any quick tips that you feel that you should that the new guys who are planning to go for the exam should know? That one or two key tips from your side.
First would be to know the basics and concepts. Be it their implication in the real world scenario. This is really really important. I cannot tell how important this is, because you can read something in the book, you can understand it, that's all right. But till you don't know how it is really applied in the real world financial market scenario, I don't think you would have made the correct use of your studies. And once you do that, believe me, your studies will seem far more easier.
Seems good. Seems good. Thank you very much, Krishna, for your time, for your guidance for the new students, and it was really wonderful having a chat with you. And we look forward to have you also in our future sessions whenever the time permits and whenever that kind of session we can organize. So definitely, it would be pleasure. It would be pleasure for us also to have you on for those kind of sessions. And thank you very much for taking out time for this session, helping our students understand what it takes to go through that FRM level